The Olympics stand as the most anticipated and celebrated global sports event. It gets widespread coverage, people get excited, and there are players from all over the world who prepare for years and then represent their country in this mega event. Can you guess how much money goes behind making this event possible? Honestly, there cannot be a single number. The 1996 Olympics cost $1.7 billion, and the 2022 Olympics in Beijing cost around $39 billion. The fun part of this is that we cannot tell which one is more expensive, given the valuation of money and the increasing scope of the Olympics Games. The costs are so many that even if the host country makes an estimate, it will still miss out on so many factors, such as flights, security, equipment, quality checks, the huge management staff, and so many unforeseen circumstances. Over a century ago, the first modern games had approximately 280 athletes competing from 12 different countries. These days, more than 10,000 athletes from 200-plus countries participate in this prestigious athletic event. And the security, media coverage, transportation, and accommodation costs have soared sky high. The 2016 Summer Olympics in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil cost around $13 billion. The 2020 Summer Olympics in Tokyo, Japan, were initially estimated to cost around $12.6 billion. But the final costs may be higher due to the postponement and additional COVID-19 related expenses. The 2012 Summer Olympics in London, United Kingdom, had a budget of around $14.6 billion. The 2008 Summer Olympics in Beijing, China, had a reported budget of approximately $40 billion, making it one of the most expensive Olympic Games in history. Converting this into today's US dollars, it evaluates to more than $50 billion. And now we come to the 2022 Winter Olympics event held in Beijing, which cost around $38.5 billion US dollars. When exactly did the government see that hosting an Olympics takes a huge hit on their GDP? The 1976 Summer Olympics in Montreal came to symbolize the fiscal risks of hosting for the first time. The projected cost of $124 million was billions below the actual cost, largely due to construction delays and cost overruns for a new stadium, saddling the city's taxpayers with some $1.5 billion in debt that took nearly 3 decades to pay off. Tokyo spent as much as $150 million on its failed 2016 bid, and about half that much for its successful 2020 bid. The most immediate need is the creation or upgrading of highly specialized sports facilities such as cycling tracks and ski jumping arenas, and a venue large enough to host the opening and closing ceremonies. Some countries already have the infrastructure, but others have to build it from scratch. So costs vary widely here. Altogether, these infrastructure costs range from $5 billion to over $50 billion. For instance, some 85% of the Sochi 2014 Games' more than $50 billion budget went to building non-sports infrastructure from scratch. More than half of the Beijing 2008 budget of $45 billion went to rail, roads, and airports, while nearly a fourth went to environmental cleanup efforts. At the same time, in 1984, Los Angeles was the only city bidding for hosting the Olympics, and it already had most of the required infrastructure. That is how LA was able to cut the costs, and thanks to broadcasting that year, it was the first profitable Olympics event. Security costs have escalated quickly since the 9/11 attacks. Sydney spent $250 million in 2000, while Athens spent over $1.5 billion in 2004, and costs have remained between $1 billion and $2 billion since. The International Olympic Committee, OIC, requires the host city to have 4,000 hotel rooms booked and available, and these are only the costs that are set in stone. Every Olympics game had to witness cost overruns, invariably. Staging the Olympics comes with a long planning horizon, specifically 7 to 11 years. It should come as no surprise that the price of labor and materials, inflation, interest rates, exchange rates, etc., change significantly over a period this long and impact cost and cost overrun. Random events have always soared up the costs, such as the COVID-19 event for the 2020 Tokyo event, and the terrorist attacks that have happened several times in history. 50 years ago, cities and countries had shied away from hosting such a huge responsibility and cost burden. But now, this event is seen as a huge opportunity for bringing soft image, collaborations, media coverage, advertisements, and thus, huge revenue. Thank you for watching, and don't miss our next video if you want to find out more about the Olympic Games then and now. Tell us in the comments section what else would you like to know about the Olympics. Subscribe and turn on your notifications. See you next time.